Hi, I hope you are well. To enjoy this to its full extent, please ensure you have your headphones on the correct way round. You should hear this in your left ear. You should hear this in your right ear. If they were the wrong way round, please take a moment to switch your headphones around. Have you also got your guide to origami boats in front of you, as well as a few sheets of paper? If not, you can find the worksheet on our portal on the Incredible Things website. It would be wonderful if you could get these things before starting. Feel free to pause me until you are ready. Have you found your way here through the internet or through underwater spaceman? Either way, you are here to listen to a story. Nothing more, nothing less. A story for story's sake, to transform your space, transport you, elicit imagination, to encourage a childish glee, to make you nostalgic for a time when you were read stories in bed, fairy tales of princesses, knights, witches, frogs. Much in the fashion I have got yours, a vagrant at the side of the road got the attention of one of 3 men. This vagrant is far more than a man. He seems older than is possible, his beard long and grey, his hands quiver with each movement. There is something about this man, a glitterer in his eye, or a voice underneath his own. It's impossible to tell if it's your empathy or a supernatural force that takes you, but any are enraptured by his every word. One such victim is a wedding guest, one of 3. He says, "By thy long grey beard and glittering eye, now wherefore stoppest thou me? The bridegroom's doors are open wide, and I am next of kin. The guests are met, the feast is set, mayest hear the merry din." The man, if he is so insignificant as one, so powerless, reveals himself a mariner.
There was a ship.
He says these words before any other, but they convey a far more complex message. One the wedding guest is baffled by, but completely understands. There is a past to this word, a was that is now not. The wedding guest finds himself frozen, entranced by this enigmatic mystery, both the man and the tale which seem so intertwined, almost indistinguishable. He sits on a rock with the man on the side of the road. They look like equals, but that could not be less true. He sits and listens, like a child, to the bright-eyed mariner.
The ship was cheered, the harbour cleared. Merrily did we drop below the kirk, below the hill, below the lighthouse top. The sun came upon the left, out of the sea came he, and he shone bright, and on the right went down into the sea.
Time seemed to slip away into the vast blue sea, its depths with no depth to consider. The days were long and the sun mighty. The wedding guest can hear the bells of the church. The mariner is unperturbed. He slaps his knees and tries to rise, and he does not move. Time seems, like on the ship, vast and winding, beginning and ending with the old man, his moods like through treacle. He listens on.
And now the storm blast came, and he was tyrannous and strong. He struck with his taking wings and chased us south along.
Waves hit the ship, its crew like pinballs, the wind like banshee screams, the rain its claws. The ship is pushed south, far south. They cross the equator and do not stop. The crew do their best to keep the boat upright, but that is all they can do. They are playthings of a mighty force. The storm does not relent. Barren, crashing waves turn to chopped ice as the crew skirts around the storm. Their detour has led them so far astray. The mush turns to icebergs, the size of the houses they so sorely miss. These structures, like land they wish they could step on, offer no respite. The clearer parts, untouched by snow, seem almost green, so deep and dense they are.
And through the drifts, the snowy cliffs did send a dismal sheen. Nor shapes of men, nor beast we ken. The ice was all between.
The men starved in the ice. What little food they had either eaten or destroyed, and what little hope left was defeated by the ice until, with an almost ethereal glow, an albatross crossed the sky and landed on the mast. The men fed the bird, praised it as a sign from a higher being. No point eating the thing, it would only postpone death, but it had to have come from somewhere. It had to have had a home, land, a source of food. With eagerness they followed the bird, which seemed to understand they were. It led them to gaps in the ice, and when none were to be found, with a crack and a crash, miraculously they were made. The men, too delirious to know if it was them or the bird. It was the bird's turn to follow, the wind picking up with the towering ice gone, and the boat flew on. For days, powered by nothing but an inspired hope, they carried on, the bird sticking close for scraps of food and play. The mariner seemed to have a particular affinity to the creature. It would have come to him when called. At night the bird took on its glow, like a spirit in a purgatorial darkness, infinite blackness, and one winged beast to guide. God save thee, ancient mariner, from the fiends that plague thee thus. Why lookest thou so? The wedding guest wasn't stupid. He knew there was a deeper sorrow to this man than rationed food and a prolonged journey. What had the mariner done that he expressed such guilt, that he looked so sad?
With my crossbow, I shot the albatross.
Even though it made no effect on their voyage, the wind still blew. The skies stayed clear. This crime worried the mariner. And worse, it angered the crew. To them, the bird was a gift from God, a guide away from the underworld and back to the living, a guardian, and the mariner had betrayed it so plainly. One bolt, with no rhyme or reason, took the bird down, into the seas it had saved them from. Days passed, and each morning the sun rose, golden like God's own head to the men, and with each passing day the men forgave the mariner, slowly at first, but the more they journeyed without the bird, they seemed to even forget his transgression. They seemed, even, to pick up pace. White foam from the brightening oceans whipped up around, their voyage near complete, until, like divine intervention, if a tad delayed, all went still. The wind did not slow or drop, it quivered and stopped. The sea did not ripple, it lay true and flat until the horizon in all directions, silence. The crew spoke to break it, but struggled, their throats so dry they could only rasp. An oppressive sun bore down upon them, a hot copper sky, a bloody orb so far away, the only thing to observe. As before, more days passed, still and quiet. Only breath disturbed the air, no wind, no hope, no bird. As idle as a painted ship on a painted ocean.
Water, water, everywhere, and all the boards did shrink. Water, water, everywhere, nor any drop to drink. The very deep did rot, O Christ, that ever this should be. Yea, slimy things did crawl, with legs upon the slimy sea.
The crew, in their eternal trap, could do nothing but sleep and breathe. In their sleep they dreamt of a spirit that plagued them, had set upon them and caused this limbo. It had followed them from the land of mist and snow, snaking its way through the ice with them. It had seen the mariner's crime. It had seen one of its own struck down. The crew were so thirsty their tongues shriveled like old roots, unable to express the rage they held. This was not their crime to bear, or was it? They had forgotten when the wind stayed. They had forgiven when it blew harder. They were complicit in the eyes of the spirit. They did not see it this way. They blamed the mariner. And, in silence...
Ah, well a day! What evil looks had I from old and young! Instead of the cross, the albatross about my neck was hung.